Hey guys, I just want to quickly say download Raid Shadow Legends using the link in the description. It greatly benefits me. And if you do that and complete the tutorial, you get a lot of goodies. And if you get to level 15, you get even more goodies. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested. Now, here's the video. Hello, and welcome to Galaxy of Now Wack, Episode 2. I don't know why, but Galaxy of Poggers just sounded weird to me. Um, so I decided just fucking I got a wacky player, that's my brand, fucking Galaxy of Wack. It's not too narcissistic, you know. Uh it's kind of, it's a fucking whoa, this is a whack of a galaxy. It's crazy. Like, what's going on, Galaxy of Heroes is crazy. So that's the new name of the podcast for now. I might change it again, who knows? It might just be the podcast with the ever-changing name. So that'll be interesting. But for since the last few weeks, since the last podcast, some interesting stuff has been announced. So we have Skiff Lando has been announced, and the second set of requirements for Jabba have also been announced, which are very, very interesting. So I think we should just go over that firstly. Why not? There we go. Sorry for the delay, everyone. So when we're looking at this, right? Let's full screen it for everyone. So the first set of requirements: Chrysanthemum, Han Solo, Gamorrean Guard, Outrider, and Greedo. I'm gonna move my setup a little bit. I was surprised last time on the podcast. You guys were, it got 40ish viewers, and it seemed like it was a pretty good response. And I mean, hey, that was a lot more than I even think it would get. And I'm just, you guys are awesome for just watching it. And, at a pretty good viewer count. I mean, viewer retention, the amount of time people continue to watch it. So anyway, technical difficulties aside, set everything up. The first set of requirements are those that I just said, and the relic requirements for like Chrysanthemum R5, that's good. Gamorrean Guard R3, that's really good. Outrider 7 stars, that's going to be a pain in the ass, so that's why I'm starting to farm the Outrider now. And Greedo R6 is like, yeah, okay. But R8 Han Solo is pretty expensive. Like when I unlocked Relics probably a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I got Boba Fett to like Relic 7 within like 1 to 2 days because I had all like a bunch of stuff lying around. And getting to Relic 8 since then, I have not even been able to. And my guild does like the raid for it, the challenge raid for it, probably a few times a month, and it's still like I still have like 11 or 9 out of 20 for those droid head things. And that's why like I'm starting to realize that I really have to use my crystals better, and this gets into something I'm going to talk about later, where I actually wasted some money, a lot of money on not a lot of money. I only spent $20, but I wasted a lot of my crystals that I saved up from Fleet Arena and Grand Arena and dailies on Chrysanthemum packs. Literally didn't even get him to the next star. Literally still have him at like 3 or 4 stars, whatever you unlock him at. And so that's really upsetting. And then used then $20 worth of crystals into 2 Lando packs and didn't even get him to the next star level. And I'm like, why? And it really hit me last night where I was like, I have to stop doing this, because the thing about packs and gambling, because it's gambling, it's gambling, but you're not going to make any money back. And I mean, you're not going to make money back in most of the time in, actual gambling, but it's like CSGO cases, it's like all this stuff. The thing with anything that's gambles with odds is that the way probability works is that you're not special. It's just, you are not special. If it happens to you, it's an anomaly and it's not the usual. Just if you're paying 1,299 crystals for the, Lando pack, assume you are going to get the lowest, or if you're going to get 5 or 7 shards. If you are willing to put 1,300 crystals for 7 shards, go for it. If you have enough if you have enough money to drop $330 for a character, And you would like if you had that money and you just burned it, you wouldn't care about it. That's what AP Gain says. You know, that's not my original take, but I think it's so true. AP Gain says if you're not making money from the game, and if you're not, if you can burn the money and not worry about it, then go for it. And I'm in the opinion that yeah, maybe I'm not big enough to be spending money on this game, you know. um, so really, the relic packs is really what I should only buy, and that was a big mistake for me going for those characters because, like I said, I've got 2 days when I unlocked relics, got Gear 13 Boba, Relic 7. Since then, couldn't even get him to Gear 8, even if I wanted to. And then, okay, so now for the next set of requirements are, you know, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker is not it's not the first one, but it's the first one I want to talk about because I expected this, and that's why I was kind of prepping for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, and I started to, realize my mistake with using guild event tokens because I would use Get 2 on only Negotiator. I actually trolled and had a little bit of Malevolence shards, but I think it's actually fine. But no, it's God, yeah, no, some of the Get To tokens, yeah, I put a little bit of malevolence, and I want to open up my account to show you guys because Jesus, like it is like 10ish and Get in malevolence, and I don't even know why. I think my logic was that um this is how my brain works. Like my logic was probably like, oh well, I'm probably gonna get Grievous first because this is probably when I just got to the ability to get to tokens, and I didn't understand that like I was gonna get Kenobi. Like I almost have Kenobi at like 6 stars, 7 stars now, and I don't even have a single piece of gear on him. So like it's like, dude, when I get around to Kenobi, it's like that's when I'll probably be even able to use the negotiator anyway, or need another fleet. Um, so I wasted it on that, and then my get one tokens I was spending on gear, even though people in my Twitch chat were saying do not do that. And I bought a little bit of Wampa, and then I bought Hoda, and now I'm just focusing on Hoda because I'm further in with Hoda than I am with Wampa. I think I should have went for Wampa first because I would need to gear the character ups and relic them anyway. So I would rather just have like Wampa reliced up and have Omicron on him and just put him on defense or offense or something and take him on offense. Just like there's a unit I can take solo, replaces a whole team possibly. Really helpful. And I would be able to unlock him like now because I already have Hoda. I'm just trying to get Hoda to 7 stars. So there's that. I might actually switch to Wampa because I mean getting from 5 to 7 stars is the equivalent of getting like 1 to 5 stars basically. Um, is it? Because it's basically 150. Yeah, it's kind of. It's a little bit less actually. Damn, that's actually kind of crazy. Because 150 is times 2 is 300. 145 times 2 is like 290. Maybe I should just start working on Wampa. It might just be faster to just unlock him at 5 stars. Um, and then yeah, I was spending money on gear, or not money. I was spending get one currency on gear, which is a real not great move. And I might make another not great move, which is using get two tokens for Leia, which I think, which I just have to see how fast I'm gonna be able to get Leia 7 stars. And I don't think I'm gonna use the get two tokens immediately, but yeah, let me just show you my capital ships. So like 25 in negotiator, 10 in malevolence, and then like I have 66 out of 85 for Hermit and 25 out of 145 for Wampa. So I might switch back to Wampa because it doesn't really matter, and that might be better for me to get earlier. Because if I had Wampa right now, I might actually just choose to gear him up and relic him after finishing the executor or my cartel units, which I'll get into how I've changed my farming plan and everything. And so then the other units is Skiff Lando, R5, really good. Jedi like Knight Luke Skywalker, Relic 7, kind of unexpected. I would have expected probably Relic 8, more expensive character, harder to get, better cat, really good, pretty good character. I was hesitant to say like good, really good, because I don't know that much about Giant Luke Skywalker. I know he's good. It's just I know he got nerfed in like just July 2021. So I'll have to look into him more. You have to remember, like, I'm still like 8 months into the game. You know, I'm dedicated and I'm really interested and I love the game and I to try to do my research, but there's only so much I can do. You know, Jawa R3. I mean, that's like, you know, R3 is really cheap. I'm happy that a unit like Jawa is Relic 3 because even though like I want to build a Jawa team eventually just for the hell of it, because I think it's like it's such a funny. I love Jawas. They're just so funny. And like and all pieces of Star Wars content, I just love them. They're just fucking silly. I love the Tatooine. Everything on Tatooine, I just love because it's just grimy, dirty, funny, and I just like it, man. And it's like then we have Relic 4. So for this Tusken, uh, is interesting. I actually predicted this. I predicted this and Jedi Luke Skywalker. Besides that, my marquee units I think are going to be wrong because I predicted Bib Fortuna and who's the other one? And Hondo Unanaka, I think is his name. And I don't think we're gonna get Hondo or Bib Fortuna the next one. Bib Fortuna already has like an icon in Skiff Lando's kit, so but with his Hut's favor ability, so I don't think we're gonna find Bib Fortuna. I think the next marquee unit is gonna be Bausch Leia, but I'll get into that in a bit. God, there's so much that I'm about to get into. So I was excited to see Jawa and Tusken because I wanted to build those teams. And honestly, this was kind of the moment when I was like, bro, fuck it. I might just switch my whole farm plan to go for Jabba. Like I might just finish the Executor and just straight up rush him. Because it sets me up for being able to just build the other two Tuskens. Like I don't even have to put if I have him at R4, I could probably put the others at like gear 10, 11, you know? And with the Omicron and 3v3, probably be pretty good to have it on defense, maybe. I would really have to test it out, but like it wouldn't be that bad. And then Tusken Raider builds into, I think, Lord Vader. And so it's really interesting that you have 2 out of the 3 Tuskens that build into Galactic Legends, like which is like it's crazy because you only need 3 of them for defense with their Omicron, and I don't know how it is now that people haven't have people kind of gotten over the hype with the Omicron and everything. But when it came out, it looked like it was pretty strong for 3v3. But I think because it's 3v3, people don't have a lot of interest in it. So I think there's some potential there. And I think that maybe after I finish all the requirements, I might honestly just pick up, and work on the other 2 Tuskens. Because it's only 2 units. Don't imagine they're super expensive to gear. And I could just have a pretty good 3v3 team to throw in there, fairly, because I've already been building these. And then we have C-3PO at Relic 7. And I mean, this is expected because of, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker needing him also. And so I was like, and so seeing this, I was like, okay. Like, I knew Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker is coming, and then I was like, all right, I know I'm going to need C-3PO. So, this is like, the interesting thing about this farm plan or this Galactic Legend requirement so far is that like a lot of it is really like it really incentivizes a CLS rush, honestly. Like if you're like starting new and like I think I'm gonna when all the requirements are out, I'm gonna make a Jabba the Hutt farm guide, but like it really incentivizes you to, if you're like starting a new account and you want to go for Jabba, like start like from now, have building just the CLS requirement units, and then getting like you could get, I mean, like I'm trying to think of like other early game units, because you have to get Lando for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker anyway. So why not just get Lando, which I'm already doing this on my second account, and it was unintentional. I was just doing that because I wanted to rush CLS, and Lando was one of those units they give you at like 4 or 5 stars early game. So I just wanted to see like how fast I could get uh CLS, really Emperor Palpatine, because trying to get those 7 stars rebels. And then you need him for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker anyway. So this is kind of incentivizing that. It's kind of incentivizing you to leverage those beginning units they give you when you start an account: Lando, Stormtrooper Han, Princess Leia, Old Ben, Farm Boy Luke, and try to make them work. Because what happens is, what I was doing with my old account, I can actually just open it up and show you, was that I was realizing how what was happening was that I had a farm plan set up when I started the account, and I was like thinking to myself, it's gonna take a while till I get level 60, and then it's gonna take a while till I get to level 85, right? But then I've been playing, and it's going a lot faster than I thought it would. Um, or no. It's going actually a lot slower than I thought it was. My mistake. Because I thought that I would be able to, you know, max out the gear levels of my Rebel CLS units. And then I would be able to work on my Empire units, and then I would be able to also start up a Jedi team so I can also get like Grandmaster Yoda and start like going for like a Galactic Republic Padme team eventually. But now I'm realizing that I really can't do that. Like there's not enough resources for me to do. I haven't streamed yet. So, yeah, let me check this. So let me show you my farm plan here. So I had to adjust my farm plan so that while I work on getting my CLS units to like R8, or not R8, gear 8 right now, I'm going to work on my Empire team like I've planned on, and then I've decided that I was actually going to work on bounty hunters a lot sooner than I was expecting, which I didn't want to do because my main account is just heavily focused on bounty hunters, and so I wanted to try something different. But I realized that with this farm path, it just makes sense because the bounty hunters work into Chewbacca, you know, you have amazing bounty hunter ships that you're going to want to go for. You can start after you get Stormtrooper Han with the Cantina currency. You can just start working on Boba Fett. You can buy him in the Cantina store. You can get all these amazing units. And then the thing is that right after that, with these, bounty hunters to get Chewbacca, then if you have Han Solo, you have your like semi-completed CLS team minus C-3PO. Then you have 2 of the units needed for BAM, and I'm already farming Queel because I'm farming the TIE Bomber, because what I want to go for is my Empire fleet. And then it just makes sense for me to also go for BAM. And it's weird because I'm in this situation where I'm like, fuck, man, like I'm kind of just doing the same thing I did on my main account, in a way, but it's just kind of because that's what's like the most optimal, But I think, and then I think going for BAM is a terrible idea because of the Razor Crest. You need the Razor Crest for getting, the Millennium Falcon. So I don't know. I don't think it's a terrible way to do it, and I think it'll take a lot of time, but it's something that I think is going to be good because I'm only going to have one bounty hunter team for now, because then I'm going to start working on, Grandmaster Yoda, Separatist for Padme, General Grievous droids, Ewoks, C-3PO, CLS, Gas later on. So it's going to be a little more traditional, but it's kind of like those CLS units are setting you kind of up for bounty hunters, because like you have a CLS team, and then you're like, I have I have 2 pilots for the Millennium Falcon, and they're super good. Why don't I just go for them, And it's like I'm gonna need Chewie for the Jedi Knight Luke event, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna need Millennium Falcon for that too. Millennium Falcon just such a good team. If I start building bounty hunters and I get an Akbar team, an Akbar, home one capital ship, it would be pretty good with a bunch of rebels. And that's why I think it might actually be better if you did the CLS units with like, I don't know, with like Biggs, when you just like farm Biggs, get him to 7 stars real fast. You have him as a pilot when you unlock him. You can get Wedge, build up a rebel team with like, you could get some like bounty hunter ships in there, here and there. Start your bounty hunter team, your bounty hunter second fleet. But I wanted to do an Empire fleet because, I don't know, I was just kind of interested in how the Empire team that I'm building, which is, Emperor Palpatine, Vader, Royal Guard, TIE Fighter pilot, and Tarkin, all are pilots. And I was really interested in having that like team where they're all pilots. I'm all going to be investing a lot of resources into them because it's just a pretty good team overall. And then like just have like them all be pilots. So I was really interested in how to see how that would work. So yeah, that's it for these requirements. And one thing for and one thing for oh jeez. Yeah, and one thing for the other requirement is, Skiff Lando, and it's really yeah, kind of waiting to see how he's gonna do, because reading his kit sounded insane. I mean, there's so much armor penetration, but like I only have him at like gear 8, trying to get him to gear 9, fucking I think 3-4 stars whatever you unlock him at. So it's really hard for me to say anything. Oh my god, I'm realizing that there's like these blue streaks on here. Oh Jesus, I have to fix that. I think that's just oh, it's not on my screen. Jesus, what the fuck is that? Um so yeah, I'm realizing that I have to wait and see, because what's really interesting about him is how he has one of the highest. I can actually just show you. He has one of the highest like offenses in the entire game. It's actually kind of insane when you offense. We're gonna do physical damage, and Skiff Lando is the 4th highest physical damage in the entire game. And then when you look at armor pen, where's Skiff Lando? Middle of the pack, right? So on top of all of his physical damage, it's not like he's lacking really any, resistance penetration, penetration. But he has pretty high resistance pen, I think. No, actually pretty low. But for physical damage, one of the highest in the game, on top of being able to stack offense up to like, what is it? Like literally you can start the game, if you have a alt Hut Cartel team, just use Hut's favor and get 30% offense just permanently, like when you start the game. Then you get with the Cutter Vibro Axe, you get offense for each stack of deep cover. So if you basic and then Cutter Vibro Axe, you can just get an insane amount of offense, like plus 60% if it's additive. So I think this is a character that's going to be pretty nuts when the Hut Cartel starts to really fill out with the next Marquee unit and Jabba the Hutt. I think this is going to be a pretty nuts character, because like this and Lando, I mean not Lando, this and Chrysanthemum, like Skiffguard and Chrysanthemum are both crazy because they both have some like top 10 statistics. Like Chrysanthemum is top 10 protection. I think it's a top 10. And Skiffguard Lando is like right up there. Literally 30 less protection than Chrysanthemum. And you're just like, what the fuck is happening? You know? Like they're, I think, really trying to get you to use Chrysanthemum lead, because Chrysanthemum lead offers you offense, max HP, and health steal. And then, health steal and max HP, more max HP with the, payout. And I see this as their next marquee unit, because at the end of the day, you're going to be using the Hut Cartel for when the next marquee unit comes out with just the 3 marquee units are just going to be in there no matter what. And then I imagine you would just throw, for like the time being, the other, if you're going for Jabba GL, just the other requirements you need for Jabba GL that are the best. So if Boba's needed, which I hope Boba's, in the last set should be, in my opinion, probably just going to throw Boba in there if you're not using him anywhere else. And then you're probably just going to throw like Greedo in there too, right? Greedo or, Gamorrean Guard if you really feel like it, but probably just Greedo, because you probably don't need another tank after Chrysanthemum. because Chrysanthemum has such insane protection. You throw more protection on top of that. He pre-taunts. He doesn't. He's not gonna revive if he's lead, but you might not even need him to revive if he's just that tanky. So you have this. The next, the next marquee unit, if they don't have a lead, which if it's Bausch Leia, I don't think they will. And I think if it's Bausch Leia, their lead will be the next unit has to have, if their next unit is the marquee unit, it's going to be Hut Cartel, and they have to have a Hut Cartel synergy lead if they are that. And I don't think Bausch Leia is going to have that because it just doesn't make sense, right? So I don't think Bausch Leia is going to be like, we've seen that Lando, like Skiff Lando and Chrysanthemum in their kit both require a full team of Hut Cartel to meet the whole kind of team, right? To really bring out the best of their kit. So I don't think we're going to get a unit that is going to be like, hey, wants to combine with light side scoundrels, for instance. I don't think, because that's what Bausch Leia would probably do. Light side scoundrels and rebels if she had a lead. So I don't think we're going to see that because there's just not enough light side scoundrels in the Hut Cartel team. I think we're going to find that Chrysanthemum and Boba Fett are going to be probably the two real leads for Hut Cartel until Jabba comes out. And I think when Jabba comes out, we'll see the full potential of this team, and it'll be absolutely insane. Because one of Chrysanthemum's, I can actually pull it up right here. One of Chrysanthemum's payouts is that if the leader is a galactic legend, they also gain damage immunity for 2 turns, and when you level it up, it's just health and protection, right? So you also get damage immunity. It's pretty insane. And tenacity, it's pretty good. Looking at my list. Yeah, no, I think. Yeah, so kind of covering Bausch Leia. I think what's going to happen with Bausch Leia is that I feel like she's going to be the next unit released. Because I think one of the obvious things is that her kit would have thermal detonators in it. Like with the intimidation thing about it, it would have thermal detonators in it, I think, or it would just use the animation of her activating thermal detonators, and it would have some like intimidation debuff that they would apply to enemies or something. So if Bausch Leia does have Bush Leia, however you say it, I haven't even looked it up because I just want it to be Bausch. I think it's insane that they would call it Bush Leia. Like, do they not see how people would take that? Do they not see how immature people like me would take it? That's why I'm resisting. That's why I'm just convincing myself to pronounce it differently. Also, I think it sounds better. So, if they take Bausch Leia, and they make her, part of the Hut Cartel squad, I think she should have something where she throws thermal detonators and she works with thermal detonators because, one, there's not that many thermal detonator units. Thermal detonators are a pretty powerful ability because when you have Zam that can just, and, Jawa Scavenger, I think, that can just detonate all of them at once. It can basically one-shot units with, enough thermal detonators. And there's a lot of synergy with thermal detonators among certain characters. But anyway, if she does have that, it would be really good because with Boba Fett lead, you get bounty hunters get turn meter whenever a thermal detonator explodes, and they get turn meter whenever an enemy is debuffed. And if thermal detonators are counted as a debuff, that can't be, it can't be dispelled. So you apply a thermal detonator to them, boom, bounty hunters get more turn meter, and it's going to explode in 1 to 2 turns. So then when the enemy takes a turn, boom, you get more turn meter. So if you have her and Greedo on a team with Boba Fett lead, then you can get the full, you can get everything out of Chrysanthemum's kit minus the payout for Galactic Legends. So you can have him revive, give Boba Fett protection back, which is just, I think, really good. So your Chrysanthemum gets second life, comes back, in case he dies, gets taunts up, and if your Boba Fett lead gets a little low, and then you have a bunch of thermal detonators that are going to explode, give a bunch of turn meter to your bounty hunters, and so it would be pretty good. And I think with that you would throw Cad Bane in there also. So you'd probably have Boba Fett, Chrysanthemum, Greedo, Cad Bane, Bausch Leia. Oh no, well you have to have Lando in there. Jesus, there's what is it? Boba, Chrysanthemum, Lando, Bausch Leia, Greedo. So you'd have 5. Which you have 3 of them that are bounty hunters, which is good. And I think you could give a lot of defense penetration to to Boba Fett with giving 5 stacks of deep cover over, which could be good. But I don't know. You'd have to wait and see, because one of the things with the Hutt Cartel tag is if Skiff Lando is going to be the real powerhouse of the team with this insane amount of protection and offense. I mean, this is a lot of protection for an attacker. Like this is pretty nuts, man. Like this is pretty nuts. It's literally like top 15 is this top 1, 2, 9, 10, 11, 12. Literally 12th highest protection in the game. And like probably top 50? top 30 like for health. This is kind of insane. And then you have, literally the highest, this is crazy. The highest physical damage non-GL in the game. Literally above Jedi Master Kenobi, right below SLKR. And it's interesting how Tusken Raider is up here too. Really up here, because Tusken Raider also gets increased offense from their passive, which just gets more offense from other Tuskens. So, I mean, looking at this and seeing that they get, Lando gets a bunch of defense penetration, offense stacking, has an insane amount of protection. What else? Gets the Hutts, has some pretty crazy abilities. Like, okay, one, when you start the game with a full Hutt Cartel team with Lando, right? You can say that you have so many options, right? You can go, is this game going to be longer? And so do I need to start stacking my, Hutt's favor now to just get that increased offense and everything? So boom, I can do that if we're going to survive. Do I need to give all my stacks to like Boba Fett right now and to just do like a massive AoE that's going to do like a bunch of damage to everyone? And that's definitely going to apply ability block. Am I going to give it over Chrysanthemum to be tankier because it increases health up and defense up? And Chrysanthemum can start using the AoE effect. Oh, what is that called? Can start using Dismember to just get that increased HP, because when all allies are Hutt Cartel, you can get stacking max health, and it max is 100, and then you also inflict Disarm, which is a really crazy debuff, 50% minus 50% crit damage and offense. Then whenever they attack, they also apply 2 no, it's only 1 damage over time for 2 turns. So you have that you could do, by giving with covert coordination. You could just go for Cutter Vibro Axe, where you're like, if maybe, because maybe it just does so much damage with the 5 stacks. You could just either one-shot them or do so much damage, and then they have damage over time and armor shred on them that you're like, they're dead anyway. They're dead from when your Boba goes, or when another unit on your team goes. It's like the options you have to start the game are just nuts, And it's like you're never really going to be using the only problem is if you get ability blocked, it's pretty bad because you're not trying to use double dealer when you're at max stacks. It just doesn't seem like it's efficient, You just, if you're trying to do damage, you really just want to use Cutter Vibro Axe, right? And so if you're at max stacks, something you're going to get more. You already have the max defense penetration and potency. So, it seems like it's going to be pretty good. And then on top of that, I mean, when we look at base damage, 1300 here, right? You also have to think that you get more offense. I don't know if they calculated the offense from the passive or from, Hut's favor and everything, but mixed with his incredibly high physical damage, you can get increased offense from your mods, increased offense from if you get critically hit. You like with Chrysanthemum lead. Oh, what was the lead say? Whenever a Hut Cartel ally is critical hit, they gain 5% offense for two turns. If Chrysanthemum's taunting and they can't get around the taunt, it'll be then they're really gonna hit him, and that's not really something you should kind of rely on. But I'm just saying there's a lot of damage that this character can do. Okay, and it says gains ramping damage the longer he stays undercover. So it seems like this is gonna be a pretty nuts character when people start to gear him and when people start to get him to 7 stars, relic him and everything, and we start seeing him in the next Grand Arena. It's just that the problem is right now, the Hut Cartel is kind of incomplete. You have either like Boba Fett or Chrysanthemum lead really. I like those two because they have synergy with like scoundrels, because you need a lot of scoundrels that aren't bounty hunters in the Hut Cartel, or there are a lot of scoundrels that aren't bounty hunters, opt for options for you. Really just 3, but it's such a small tag that it's like, that's a lot. And so you kind of want synergy with your whole team. And then with like with the contracts with the bounty hunters for like Cad Bane and Embo, it's like it's gonna be a lot harder to stack if you only have 3 bounty hunters on the team. So it's really gonna incentivize you to just bring 4 bounty hunters in Lando, which that's fine because you Boba Fett, Chrysanthemum, Greedo, Cad Bane, Lando. I mean that sounds like a great team. That sounds fine. But with the next marquee unit, if they're not bounty hunter, then I don't know if you want to take, you know, Cad Bane or Embo lead if there's because like you have to apply 20 debuffs on bounty hunters with Cad Bane. I don't think that's gonna really happen that often if you only have 3 bounty hunters working towards it. And even with 4, it's like more difficult. And with Embo, it's like you have to attack a non-debuff target or deal damage to them like 5 times, like 15 times or something. And it's like I don't think that's gonna happen either. Um, and so, it's a little difficult. It's a little hard to say. All right, I think I've talked enough about. I think I've talked enough about the Hawk Cartel team and everything. And Bausch Leia, last Jabba set predictions. Oh, okay. So last Jabba set predictions, I think are going to be. I'm gonna pull this up. I keep closing it and opening it. Look how indecisive I am this morning. I think we're gonna be seeing Boba Fett as one of the next units. I think it's gonna be Boba Fett, Chewbacca. If it's Chewbacca, that'd be insane because you already need Chewbacca for Jedi Knight Luke. So it's crazy to me that they put C-3PO and Jedi Knight Luke, but it's probably because you only need C-3PO like R3, R5. But if they put Chewbacca, that would be amazing. Because then you have basically 4. You have 4 out of the 5 units needed for the CLS team, because you need to get CLS for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker anyway. So it's an amazing actually like transition from CLS. The next marquee unit, Bausch Leia, if it's Bausch Leia, is going to be needed. Boba Fett is going to be needed. I'm trying to think of who else could be needed. We already have Jawa. We already have Aurora, which is interesting because that kind of signifies to me that it's also going to be whatever kind of is related to Tatooine that we have is going to be there. And so this is where I'm going to start my next prediction. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't even know if I spelled it correctly. Prediction. I don't like it. Just making a new tab. It's called default. You guys are gonna bully me. Alright, so the first set of what's the first set we're looking at? The first set is for the Hutt's cartel, for Jabba the Hutt was, I'm actually just gonna pull it up so I don't have to think. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I've been up since like 5 a.m. Woke up early. Parents woke me up, but this is why I'm in a new spot. I'm house sitting for my parents again, and I have to move downstairs. My computer downstairs, and my streaming setup, so I can be with my dogs, so they don't panic. Because I got 4 dogs, and it's crazy. All right, here we go. When we look at scoundrels, the first set we have is like Chrysanthemum. We have to deal with Han Solo, so Han Solo's gonna be further up. Gamorrean Guard, which I am being rewarded for getting 7-star Gamorrean Guard like an idiot. Outrider, I'll put Dash Rendar there, but I'm gonna put Greedo and then I'll put Dash Rendar. Dash Rendar signifies the Outrider. And I probably should start picking up. Probably should put Dash Rendar, not Dash Rider. Jesus, in my. I'll just put it as 1. In my farm plan, I don't have him now. I'm just farming the Outrider, so I probably will need Dash Rendar. In the, for just because they're a good scoundrel unit, for just a good rebel fleet. But for now, I'm just trying to see if I can get away with just having a 7-star Outrider and not much more, which is not going to be the case. Then the next set of requirements, we have, what do we have? We have Lando, Giant Luke Skywalker, Jawa, C-3PO. Okay, so what we can do is go Rebel, go C-3PO. Is Jedi Luke Skywalker here? In the Rebel tag, he's not. Interesting. I guess a true Jedi has no alliances except with the Force. Ooh. Profound. And then besides that, it's and Jawa. Last podcast I did, I actually got burnt out like in the latter half of the podcast. That's why I'm actually streaming, or I'm not streaming. That's why I'm recording this earlier, before my stream actually, because so I don't get burnt out, and so I could provide that level of like energy and enthusiasm I have in the morning when or when I'm starting my day being productive and everything. And I also really appreciated how a lot of people were actually really like okay with it, and either they didn't make it that far or that they were cool with me kind of just in the latter half not knowing really what to talk about. So I was just kind of like just redoing my farm plan. So that's why this episode I have a bunch more notes written down, and that's why this episode I'm kind of doing it before I even stream and start my day. What? Are you kidding me? Do you see this bullshit? Fucking, I literally hit. Oh my god. Look at this, man. This is some bullshit right there. And so, all right, let me go full screen for this. And so for the next set of requirements, definitely going to be Boba Fett. I really hope it's Boba Fett, because if they don't do Boba Fett, it's like, come on, what are you doing? Boba Fett. They might throw Fennec Shand in there. They might do that, Fennec Shand. Not Shand, Shan, I'm pretty sure. They might throw her in there because she was on, I don't know the lore that much, but she was on Tatooine, when Jabba fell right after, like a few months after the episode 6, when Jabba dies at Sarlacc pit, and Luke causes all that stuff to happen, and then you have Fennec Shand outside of the palace, and Boba Fett's talking about, hey, we should fucking take that thing. I'm gonna take it, blah blah blah, in the book of Boba Fett. So we could see Fennec Shand because she was on Tatooine around that time, so she was probably involved in the Hutt cartel in general. But let me write the other ones down that I suspect are going to be needed. So first off, let's just put Boba Fett. Okay, come on, Boba Fett has to be needed for it. So iconic with Jabba. If you have Greedo there, when Greedo dies in like the first few scenes, Boba Fett's like right there behind him from episode 4 and episode 5. He's such an important figure. And then his whole arc in the original trilogy is just trying to capture Han Solo and bring him to Jabba, right? And that's what he does. So come on, Boba Fett has to be involved in this. Beyond that, I imagine. Well, okay, what I think is gonna also take place is I think we're gonna see R2D2. R2D2 is on the ship, and I think we're gonna get. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put this version of Leia. But this is when I put Rebel Officer Leia, I mean Bausch Leia. I think that's what we'll probably get. Whatever the next, that's gonna be just whatever the next Hut Cartel is, but I'm pretty sure it's Bausch Leia. Besides that, I mean, because R2 was on the ship when Jabba, died and did its demise and everything. We're probably gonna see Bausch Leia. We could see just regular Leia in there too, because it's Slave Leia costume. Ooh. But I don't know if they're already throwing Bausch Leia in there. I don't know if they'll actually do that. Now they could throw if they throw Chewbacca in, and I think this is too much. I think it's either going to be R2 or Chewbacca because you already need R2 for CLS, right? And you need Chewbacca for Jedi Knight Luke. If they throw Chewie in there, that might just be too efficient. That might just be too efficient of a use for Chewbacca, because they already have Han Solo in there, and Han Solo, pretty high relic, right? Relic 8, really high relic. So if they throw Chewie, that might be a high relic 8 too. I doubt it'd be R9. And then you have one slot left, which I'm really dumbfounded on, because there's only gonna be one more marquee unit. I'm really convinced it's gonna be Bausch Leia. If it's not Bausch Leia, I think you have Princess Leia in there, and I think I would throw Princess Leia in there if I just can't think of anything else. You have Han Solo, you have Lando, you have Boba Fett. Boba Fett, where's Boba Fett? And then gets like thrown in the Sarlacc pit. They released two characters actually, and one of them is Sarlacc pit. I think. Besides that, I mean, it's really hard to tell because, it could be Fennec Shand, right? Or Shan. It could be her. I think she's actually the least likely for it to be. Another unit could be Cad Bane. I think if they throw Chewbacca in here with R2, I think they would do Mob Enforcer as a needed unit. Because I think they would want to make it so that you have to build this really garbage unit, so it kind of offsets the amount of value you're getting from having to relic these units that you've already have relic for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, and Mob Enforcer is a Hut Cartel, so I think that they might just do that. I mean, they've already showed that they did R3 for Gamorrean Guard, but Gamorrean Guard shows up a little bit more in the movies and with around Jabba, so. We have to see. I think the possibilities here is that I think these first four are probably pretty accurate. Maybe they change out Chewie for Princess Leia on top of Bausch Leia. Maybe they do Mob Enforcer, or maybe they do instead of Chewie they do Cad Bane. I could see them going, in this last slot, Cad Bane here. I could see them going. I could see them go Cad Bane, Mob Enforcer, totally. I don't think Fennec. I think the Fennec Shand theory is not going to work because there's. I don't think it's going to work. And you could have R2 there. No, I really think it makes sense for them to do this. Because I mean, if you're already setting it up where you already have a precedent set where you're already having all these units that are needed for Jedi Knight Luke, and you're using Jedi Knight Luke, and so we're kind of basing a lot of the requirements off of the Hut Cartel tag and what we see in Episode 6, right? Because of Lando, Skiff Lando, then we're probably gonna just have Chewie there too because they have to, right? If that's their logic, right? If they're not pulling some crazy shit and we're not gonna need a Boba Fett sign of Jango randomly in the last set of requirements, which would make no sense, That's the guy that comes after Jabba is dead, not leading up to it. Then I think they're just gonna make you have to relic a shit character like Mob Enforcer. I think because of how efficient all the other requirements are, they're gonna say the Mob Enforcer is R5, and if they say that Mob Enforcer is R3, or if they put Cad Bane in there or something, then I'm suspecting that Jabba is not gonna be that good. Jabba is gonna be good, like a galactic legend, but I don't think he's gonna be someone that's going to be stomping in Grand Arena like the other GLs are, and I think it's going to be a character that's just needed for this like upcoming like territory battles that they've been talking about. Because I'm pretty sure that they announced that they were doing a new set they were doing new territory battles with the release of Jabba. Let me take a look. Synergize with bounty hunters and smugglers. Jobs no one keep bounty hunter. Cassandra will be on several marquee units. Java exception will Java lead. If you go after Java, you will still want these marquee units powered up and not requirements. Just go add car more. Oh, and you will find him useful in territory battles, such as on Hoth and Geonosis territory battles, will both be receiving an extra battle that requires Java. Okay, so it's not a new TB, but I think they announced or teased that they were working on some new PvE feature or event or something. Java will have more direct uses in the near future, so you won't want to miss this character. We will have more to share about Jabba the Hutt's other utility locations in the next road ahead. Yeah, so they kind of teased that, right? And so because of this, I think Jabba is going to be a unit that is not going to be is going to be good, not amazing in Grand Arena. I think if the requirements kind of are like this and they're logical, they're gonna turn down his Grand Arena power, and they're gonna increase his his power in territory battles and the next PvE event they create, new territory battles, a new raid, whatever it is, and it's really gonna be a character for those that love bounty hunters, that love the Hutt Cartel tag, or it's gonna be for people who are really valuing those territory battles. Maybe the new battle for Geo and Unhoth is just nuts. Like maybe it's one of these things that's like, I don't know, gets you way more get to currency or whatever. So it could be useful for that, although I don't think so, because like by the time you get Jabba, what are the chances that you're already like close to unlocking a negotiator or malevolence? And like what are the odds that like you're actually at a high enough rank that you need more fleets and that you need the negotiator or malevolence fleet? Like I don't think it would be that high, And I think because if you were just rushing Jabba, you would be at such a lower rank in general, like as in like, like less than chromium, less ordonium, like you probably bronzium like me or carbonite if you're free to play, especially because like the units you're going for are good, but it's like very specialized. Like you have the CLS team, right? Let me confirm the squad. So I can look at the whole list. Like you have a Hutt Cartel team, a CLS, a pretty good CLS team, and then you have Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. You could throw Hoda in there with Jedi Knight Luke. You have R2 lying around if you want to use R2 somewhere. You have one Tusken, one Jawa. Like it's not really setting you up the best. Okay? Because if you rush for like you'll have, let me think about this. Okay, you'll have starter rebels, whether that's Phoenix or like, some variation of the CLS rebels require rebels, right? And then you'll have an Empire team for R2. And whether you choose to, if they're Imperial troopers or, a Vader, Emperor Palpatine squad, whatever it is, if you continue to gear them up, which you probably will, you'll have those two. And then you'll have a Hutt Cartel team based off of this. You'll have a CLS team, which is 4. You'll have your 5 teams. You'll have a Jedi. You'll probably have Jedi Luke Skywalker team, some place. And then I mean you have some like rebels lying around. If you get Akbar in there, you might be able to find like a double Omicron Leia Akbar team lying around. So like there's like 6, 7 teams, because then you have like Dash Rendar. Like maybe you could throw Dash Rendar in a scoundrel team. Like maybe if you want to put some resources into like the other Tuskens, you could get like an 8 teams. I don't Jawa is only 1 out of 5. I'm not even gonna like include that in like a possibility, because you'd have to go like so out of your way. I'm talking about like rushing, just going for these units. You'd be able to get like 7-ish 8 teams, which are like you have like which are like you have like one like CLS like super team, which is like good. Um, that's like really good. It's not terrible because of Jedi, but it's really because of Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. You know, the requirements for that. Um, so maybe you could climb in Grand Arena, right? Maybe you could climb to a higher degree where you need more fleets, where the extra get currency might be valuable. But we'll have to really wait and see for what this extra battle on Hoth and Geo actually does. You know, because if it's just that, I don't think that's enough to warrant Jabba to be, um, you know, rushed. And I think also there's a lot of I'm doing a lot of speculation right now and assumptions, basically because like we don't have too much to talk about it. I'm just basically trying to base it as much logic as I possibly can. But we'll see if Jabba is going to be good in Grand Arena. Maybe he is. Maybe he's going to be this fucking insanely overpowered character that's like that I'm going to get and be rewarded for because I'm just a lucky bastard with this game, you know? I mean, let me tell you, like, okay, and then let me say the other caveat. If you're like me and you love all the bounty hunters and you're like I'm like now realizing about there's 2 categories. There's not 2 categories. I don't like to think in binary. I try not to. There's the spectrum for this game of players is you are a collector or a player, like a competitive player, right? And I heavily lean towards collector. And what does that mean? That means that when I see this game and I play this game, I go, I wanna collect my favorite characters, and I want to play with them. If you're more of a player, more of a competitive player, you go, I like the gameplay. I want to use the best teams, right? I want to get to the highest rank. But I'm more of a collector, right? I want to collect all the bounty hunters. That's my goal. And then I want to try to make them work, right? And I want to try to make all the units I have leading up to collecting all those bounty hunters work. And so that also includes Jabba, because it's bounty hunter / like hut cartel basically. So like my overall big picture farm plan is like has changed. It's because it used to be finishing the Executor, and then it would be before this second set of requirements came out, cleaning up my roster, maybe starting to get Padme, working towards General Grievous droids, all this other stuff, right? And then then I would go for Jabba after. But then seeing Skiff Lando and being like, damn, I really want to start gearing up that character, and then realizing that the other set of requirements was Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, I realized that I could just go for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, get a good amount of units, I'll be okay from it, build up my CLS team that I want to build up, and I'll be able to have some like a Tusken lying around in case I want to go for Tuskens and a Jawa because I want to go for them eventually. It'll be fun. And then I realized I'm like, why am I playing this game? I'm like, this kind of makes sense. This kind of like it doesn't seem like it's the worst thing in the world. And I'm like, I'm not going to be successful in Grand Arena with this by no means. I don't think I'll be horrible, but I think I'll be bouncing between like, Carbonite to like, Bronzium. I don't think I'll be able to get, like, we'll see, but like, I don't know if I'll really be able to get to like, Chromium, And that's fine with me. That's fine. I've accepted that because I get a lot of crystals from Fleet Arena. I have a really strong fleet. I'm going for Executor. I'm getting closer and closer to Executor. I'm fine with getting most of my crystals from that. And even if I fall out, which would be kind of insane, because I'm already top 10 and I've been there consistently, and I'm getting the Executor, and I'm like ahead in like everyone in my top 10 that's close to getting the Executor. Probably the only one in top 10 that has, or in my Fleet Arena that has a 7-star Razor Crest. So like, I'm fine with getting my crystals from that. And then just I love bounty hunters, so I'm just gonna try to use bounty hunters for whatever they're good for, right? And it's like there's a territory war Omicron for Lando. There's territory war Omicrons for Boba Fett Sign of Django. There's territory war Omicron for Embo, and then we have the territory Jabba's gonna be important for territory battles. I'm like, dude, maybe I should just focus on guild. Like maybe I should just focus on territory wars and territory battles because I'm building a bunch of bounty hunters and try to make it work in Grand Arena, right? Instead of going out of my way to like try to clean up my roster and do all this different stuff, why don't I just say, you know what? Whatever I land with in Grand Arena, I land with. I just focus on getting what I want because that's what I find fun. And then I try to just use that to the best of my ability. And that's looking like more and more like it's going to be, I'm going to have to be focusing on territory wars and territory battles more, it seems like, in the future. Which is fine because maybe I'm the first one in my guild to get a GL Jabba. It could be. My guild's not crazy big. We have some, some high roller players, but I don't even know if they're going to go for this. They're probably going to want to go for the profundity as a counter to the Executor. That's something I have to worry about because that's something that might boot me out of my high rank in Fleet Arena, which sucks. But it'll be what I'll have to deal with it when I have to deal with it. And I'm just gonna, work for the characters I want to play, and I'm just gonna try to make it work to the best of my ability. So, that's kind of what I'm with, and I'll have to see how it works. And honestly, the everything I've done, people have been like, "That's not good. Don't go for that. Go for the more traditional thing." And honestly, it's worked out quite well for me so far. I'm no means a high rank in Grand Arena. No means. But in Fleet Arena, I'm like top 10, get rank 3 consistently. It's really, really working out. And so, I'm going to trust myself on this one. What else? Suffering and Bronzium. Yeah, so when I was in my Grand Arena, I can check a look at my opponent. Setup phase right now. I lost 2 battles, and I mean, it was just like the first one was like 4 mil GP. Second one 2 mil GP difference. So it was basically unwinnable on both parts. And the thing was that I had better and faster characters, some faster characters than my opponent. Like I modded better, right? I just like there was one guy, I think it was the guy that had 5.5 mil and I have 1.5 mil. And they had a 170 speed Darth Vader when mine's like 220 or 230. Like they had their fastest unit was 227 and I had 6 units that are faster than that, Then I have like another 6 units that are right around that. But I just didn't have enough units. So it was like it was like I just couldn't compete. Like even though this person like didn't have good mods, weren't good at modding, like I just couldn't compete because their roster was just bigger because they've just been playing longer. They pour money in, I just couldn't compete. And then the next guy with like a 2 mil GP difference, it was like the same thing. It was like I had faster units. My units were just way faster. Like not all of them, of course, but like again, like 5-6 units faster. This guy was even slower. I still couldn't win. And it wasn't just speed. It was like, better like choosing which sets I use, and not just going like speed potency on Darth Vader, like going like crit damage potency or crit damage. I've changed the potency actually. Crit damage potency on Vader, so he actually hits. Like their Vader could be like Relic 7 hit me, and I would like I would survive still, and I'm like, okay, this is like ridiculous, that I'm like losing to this guy. But I was and I was just saying to myself, like, bro, someone in my chat the other day, I think it was Gavsta, a highly ranked, I think Gavsta's a streamer also, highly ranked Kyber 1 player, been playing for a really long time, and they come in and they say, I was kind of like being like, I don't know if I want to focus on Grand Arena as much, and they were saying, Grand Arena, in my opinion, is the most fun game mode, and I'm like, you know what, that might be true for you, and for people that have been playing this game for a long time, for people that have a super wide roster, but for me, right now, it's awful. Like I'm like never getting a matchup that's like around my GP. I don't even know if this. Let's check this guy. Let's check this latest person that I have. Right, you current around. Okay, Darth Evgan. All right, let's look at you. Ruthless, you say? Okay, all right, let's take a look. 2.1 mil. It's like, okay, this is like 600k GP. This is the closest I'm gonna get, right? And let's take a look at their fastest character. And maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on speed, right? Maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on speed, but 254, right? Okay, pretty fast, right? But I remember that I have a lot of units faster than their Hux, and their Hux matters a lot. And I have units faster than their Kylo Ren. Good amount too. So anyway, like, you know, if I only have 1 out of 3 opponents at Bronzium 4 that are actually that the 1 out of 3 opponents that can actually be like, yo, I can do this. Like, I have a chance against them, like GP wise. It's like, it's just, I'm just fucked. You know, it's just like, it's like, why would I put more effort into this game mode when if I just go, when I'm not gonna have fun doing it, and if I go for a unit that I actually want to get, Jabba, I'm gonna be building up a bunch of other units that I actually want anyway. Why don't I just do that? And also, it's like, if I'm not going for a traditional farming path, where I'm not getting, you know, I already have CLS, but I'm not getting a gas team early. I'm not getting a Padme team early. I'm not getting a General Grievous droids. I'm not getting, you know, I'm not getting any of these teams anytime soon. What else is there? You know, if I'm not getting those 3 teams anytime soon, you know, not getting Darth Revan, not getting, you know, Jedi Revan. And then I'm also, you know, not getting Malik to get in my Darth Revan team. It's like, I'm not going to be able to compete with these guys. I'm not going to be able to compete with these guys that are doing this. Like, I love bounty hunters, and I think they're a strong, you know, faction that's underrated. But there's nothing I can do against people that are going for all these different teams that are just really, really strong. Like what am I going to do, right? You think that this Django team is going to be able to go against a Revan team? You know, it's like, I don't think so. You know, it's like I struggle against CLS teams, you know. So that's why I'm just like, you know what? Wherever I land, and this is kind of how I treat all competitive video games with a rank, with a like a MMR system where your rank is based on wins and losses, is that just focus on what you like and what you find fun, and wherever you, and always, you know, try to win and always try your hardest with what you have, and wherever you end up. Just be happy with it. Just be okay with it, you know? Because at the end of the day, you're playing games for fun and for enjoyment and for fulfillment, right? So if that's what I'm doing, and I like bounty hunters and I love Star Wars, and and I'm a collector, that's what I should try to do, you know? I'm going for all bounty hunters and then gonna build weird, wacky teams. Yeah, so I think that's like what with the Jawa and the is that, yeah, I think I'm gonna plan on getting a Tusken team going after either after Jabba. I'm probably gonna either get a Tusken team going, or I'm gonna try to fix my roster of my bounty hunter units and scoundrel units that I don't have highly geared, and I'm gonna like, if I have a crystal income that's above 300. So basically, because I use 300, I use 150 for regular energy, 150 for ship energy every day, because I need to gear up a lot of units. So I put more emphasis on that than the mod energy, sadly, because I just don't have enough. Because I want to have a surplus of gear of crystals to buy, you know, relic packs in the shop, and then I might actually try to just save up all those extra crystals by I think people are gonna hate that I say this, by Scion of Django in the Conquest, or the 600 crystals I save up, you know, every 4 or 5 days. Because I want all the bounty hunters, and like I get them sooner, great. I get them sooner, you know, like that a little bit sooner. That's all I care about. I finally understand the importance of modding. Yes. Let me tell you. In my on my, you know, it's Sunday. I don't technically have my schedule set to that I stream at 10 a.m. on Sunday. So I can go a little bit longer for the podcast. So on my alt account, I was struggling to do mod challenges tier 2, right? Even trying to unlock the 4 dot mods was hard. Then I changed the mods on my characters, and then it was a piece of cake to get the health tier 3 mod done, and I was having so much struggle in Squad Arena. And then once I switched my mods out, I was piece of cake. Everyone in Squad Arena that I was like, you know, a decent team that was like Phoenix, right? That's like a menace against my like CLS Lando and the CLS requirement rebels early game was like a piece of cake. Like my team was just so tanky and did so much damage and was just faster. So it really kind of like was like showing me how, especially for free to play, because when I started this game, I bought Bosk. I had a really cracked bounty hunter squad that people couldn't get unless they paid money to get bounty hunters, which people don't normally do. And I was basically like winning and playing, and leveling up on easy mode because I put some money into the game. So I didn't really understand the importance of modding until now. And then I'm facing people in Grand Arena, and I'm like, if I'm really not caring about Grand Arena that much, and basically whenever I play Grand Arena, I go, this guy's so much higher GP than me that it's just a guaranteed loss, so it really doesn't matter anyway, And then it's like there's one out of 33% of the time, let's say, that I face an opponent that's like they're higher GP than me. They have like they're favored in the match anyway, but I have like a 40% chance to win. Then it's like, all right, okay, how much effort do I want to put into that, But on my free to play account, I realized that I'm like, holy shit, this is how skill expression is done in this game, because a lot of the teams, if you go for a traditional route, are kind of just figured out, right? A lot of the teams are just like, get your CLS, get your gas, get your General Grievous droids, Darth Revan, Emperor Palpatine, Vader team. Like it's very like figured out, there's less and less creative options and theory crafting because of datacrons, because datacrons make Galactic Legends even stronger. You're not going to find many counters to Galactic Legends with, non-GLs. And so a lot of counters for other stuff is still, you can still theory craft and whatnot, but for the most part, it's figured out, because if you're a player that has a super large roster, what you're really worried about is GLs and trying to find ways to counter them with non-GLs to be more efficient and to get more banners than your opponent. And if you're someone like me who's like early game or like newer player and they're trying to level up their account and everything, you don't have too many tools to work with anyway. So you just have to use what you got. And so the plug and play viability is there. Like it's always there, where you're like, okay, like maybe I have a Cad Bane build, so maybe I can use it against this Jedi team because, has a little synergy against Jedi. And like, maybe that's not the best example, but like, there's plug and play, viability. For me, it's like, okay, do I want to use Aura Lead or do you want to use Django Lead? It's kind of like those two options. Or do I want to use Aura Lead or don't want to use Bosk Lead? And it kind of depends on the situation, right? And so my point is that modding is really one of the ways that you can, especially in lower ranks when people are really bad at modding, you can show your skill expression. Because if you are efficient with the mods you keep, the mods you destroy, and you sell for credits, the mods, the characters that you prioritize how you mod, the mods how you slice the mods, if you choose like you're gonna slice mods that are only 15 speed to like from 5 to 6, or if you decided to slice mods that are 20, from 5 to 6, there's a big difference between those two types of players. I think I think the 20 player is someone that's willing to be more patient and have much more scrutiny about how they use their resources. I think that speaks volumes about the type of player they are. I think that player has way better sense of resource management than a player that's willing to slice like a 10 or 15 speed mod to six dots. Maybe 15 is a bad example because it's pretty okay. Because you could be like, oh, you get 16 and you can get +4, +5, and white, E to D, and then you could get up there after. So, or actually, does Relic 6 work where it's just +1 each time? I forget. I think it's +1 each time. It might be. But anyway, it's one of the ways to have skill expression, and also for me, I'm actually like, it's one of the ways to have kind of theory craft, because for a unit like Embo, everyone on, like, when I look on swgoh.gg, people mod Embo with what you would expect. Crit damage, crit chance, right? Nothing new here. But what people do is they go speed. And what I did was went protection. And you could be like, this is super troll. You have a super slow Embo, but the thing is that I can call Embo to assist with like Mando to remove a taunt, right, or to move certain buffs. So there's that. Then I have when I put Zam with my Bosk team, because sometimes I want to start running Aura Sing lead with Mando Grief up here in this team, and then I have like a tank, and I was like kind of modding. This is also an example of creative mods. I was modding Cad Bane to be tanky because Cad Bane has decent protection, and it's way better than his HP. So I was trying to mod him for protection and tenacity, because when you get your payout, Cad Bane has increased evasion and inflicts thermal detonators. So I was trying to move. I was like, I have an option to put Cad Bane here as a tank if I don't have any other tank, right? If I'm desperate, with Aura lead. And then I can have Dengar and Zam down here. And so what ends up happening is Zam increases speed for your team, but also increases protection. And so Embo does damage based on protection. So Embo has like an absurd amount of protection. So since my enemies don't really have since okay, this is how I think about it. Since the enemies that I have a fighting chance against don't have too good they're not good at modding, and they don't have that much speed, I can get away with this shit, and I think this stuff's really fun, because I mean, I have a what is this? I have a 5-star Embo that's gear 10 that's doing like an absurd amount of damage, you know? And because I just have him prioritized for that. And like the secondary speeds on my other mods could be better, but since Embo's not a high priority character for me, unless he ends up on the set 3 requirements, which I don't think he would for Jabba, then I would change him. But for now, I like doing that because it's super fun. So it's the importance of modding. It's creative skill expression, and when I say creative, I mean theory crafting. Like you can use the theory crafting to where I can make this unit where, yes, I could have them faster, but if they were faster, they wouldn't do as much damage. And I would rather just have them be slower, do more damage, because I have 3 mass assists on this team anyway, so I can get the use out of their basic removing buffs. Then I can just have that massive, just fucking, just frisbee that he throws. Moving on, the next note I have here is my free-to-play is about hit fleet, and it's not going to be pretty. Yeah, so my free-to-play account is... It's something that I realized about halfway through, that this is just not a... I'm not going to get the rewards for my efforts early. I'm going to have to put a lot more effort into it, and it's going to take a lot longer. Not a lot more effort. It's just going to take longer to really get the payoff that I'm looking for with my units. Oh, this is an old account. This is actually interesting. So this is kind of the first edition of this account that I went for, or where I had Obi-Wan, all these different units, right? And all the CLS requirements, and I had Biggs, and I was working on Akbar, and then I had my 5 Empire units, but it looks like I actually stopped going for Tarkin. And I stopped playing this account, and so I decided to restart because 63 isn't too crazy for me. And I wanted to kind of start fresh and be more efficient, where I didn't build up Biggs and I didn't build up Akbar. Okay, and I built up Biggs because I was like, fuck, I need to do something in fleet, right? So let me find this account. Here we go. So instead, on this account, I have just put effort into the rebel units, and then when they're maxed out and I can't put any more energy into them, then I focus on the Empire units, right? And so each one of these Empire units is a pilot, okay? And the thing is I only have Biggs like here because, like, I only have like Relic or Gear 2 or something, so that I could like unlock some of the early battles. Akbar is not built at all, and I'm realizing that this isn't the most optimal way to do it to get CLS, because it's actually better to go Akbar lead, right? And then you can get a Biggs also, start building a Biggs, and then you have the TIE Fighter pilot, you have this team still. You could actually take out Tarkin for a different Empire unit. So if you don't, so like, trying to think. I think Tarkin's not terrible because you can actually keep Tarkin, because when you hit Grand Arena, you can use Tarkin as your other fleet. And what you could do with a thing like this is start building up a rebel fleet with like Biggs and I know she's not rebel, but Ahsoka Tano and Anakin. You could start building those ships up on top of the TIE fighter and the TIE bomber that you're building. So you're kind of building an Empire and a rebel fleet. And so early game you can have a hybrid rebel, fleet where it's, Biggs, you can get Wedge eventually. So you're really gonna have Biggs, Ahsoka, Anakin, TIE fighter pilot. So you have 4 ships that are decent, no tanks, but they're pretty good ships, right? And then you could start getting your, TIE bomber. You could get your TIE advanced eventually. Get your Emperor shuttle. So you have an Empire fleet right there on top of the Gauntlet starfighter. You could get. And the Reaper, and then also before that you'd be able to get Wedge's ship. You'd be able to start working for the Rebel Y-Wing. You could even go for like the Biston U-Wing or whatever. So it could be pretty easy. Or you could, work for your Bounty Hunter fleet, which is what I'm trying to do so I can lock the Millennium Falcon. And so, let me go back to this. Yeah, so I'm not set up for Fleet Arena, and I kind of knew that going into this. But then I thought I would have a little more wiggle room to build up Anakin and Ahsoka. But I'm level 59, so I'm gonna hit Fleet and just not be ready. And honestly, I'm thinking of just fucking sticking with it and just like getting a super low rank. And no, the thing is, I can't get too low of a rank because I actually need enough fleet credits so that I can buy Vader, the TIE Advanced, Slave 1. And there's probably other ships that I need to get in the fleet store, like the Razor Crest. So I have to get enough, so I'll probably put some resource into Ahsoka and Anakin on top of TIE Fighter. And I'm going to be using Executrix because I'm already going to be building Tarkin. So yeah, my free-to-play, it's very efficient. If modding is better and everything. It's all HP mod, that's all I have, but it's helping out a lot with how much health I'm getting. With 5k, a little extra speed because I don't have great mods. 36 extra crit damage from the triangle is really good. I spent money again and regret it. Yeah, I spent $20. I talked about that, and I spent it to get the Lando pack because I was super just hyped on Lando. Made some money, and I was like, fuck it, let's go for Lando. And then Lando is literally not even 4 stars. It's literally with Chrysanthemum, it was the same thing. I bought a bunch of packs. I didn't spend any money, but I just saved up a bunch of extra crystals that I had, and I don't even have 4 stars. So I'm like, I'm never doing that again. I say that, hopefully I never do it again. Only spend money on the R7, R9 Relic packs or Hyperdrive. Yeah, do that, and do the Hyperdrive only if you're like new, or if your account's like kinda like maybe 1 mil-ish, If you're at like 1 mil-ish and it's like $50, you could probably do it. Because like for me right now, I think it would be good, but I think there's a lot of, because I'm so hyper focused on like Jabba and specific units, I don't know if it would be good if I got the hyperdrive. I don't know if it'd really serve me any benefit. My next Zeta might be Embo for his Omicron. Yeah, so going back to what I said earlier, I might just do that to move my account to be more focused on territory wars. Although because I have to build up CLS anyway, I might actually just Zeta CLS or Chewie, for the CLS team. I think that's actually a better decision. I should probably do that instead. So I said might be Embo. Because earlier today I was just like, this morning I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go Embo for the Omicron, But I think I should just hold on to the Omicron maybe. Because I mean, Embo is really good. I have to think about it in territory wars. I have to think about it. Oh jeez, I got 7 accounts Facebook. What the fuck? I don't even have a Facebook account. I changed the next step of my farm plan a lot because the executor takes so long. Yeah, so the thing is that if you watch my content, I do something that it seems like I do something that's terrible, which is flip flop, and I don't stick to one thing at a time. The thing is, though, is that actually, because here's the thing, because the executor takes so long to farm anyway, it doesn't even change how fast I can farm it, because the ship farms I'm already done with, and now I'm just focusing, now I'm just focusing on relicking the characters, and I literally can't even get Boba Fett to Relic 8. Bosk is the first one that I've finished, right? So it takes so long to do that anyway, that me like gearing up Lando to like 9, getting some other units to like gear 9 to like just help him out because they're like super low gear, getting like Chrysanthemum to gear 9, like it really doesn't stop me that much. And also like so it really, like, whenever I was switching like my plan and everything, and I was like taking like small breaks to like gear up other things, like I went for the fucking Chimera like while I was farming the executive. Like I got Bam and then was like, okay, my next thing I'm going for is the executor, because on my way to the executor I can just pick up the Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon, but I'm getting the executor. So between then, level fucking, I don't know, 70 and now, for months I've just been working on the executor, and I can confidently say that it has not changed a single thing. It has probably actually helped me that I went for the Chimera, because now I'm at a higher level in Fleet Arena, and then I get more crystals that gives me more energy, which gives me more gear, which makes it faster for me to get the executor. And then I take these little breaks to get like Lando and Chrysanthemum to gear 9. It's really not slowing me down that much, because I can just go back to the Piet. Like it's gonna take me forever to save up the dog's so adorable. To save up the relic materials to get Boba to gear 8, Piet to gear 8, Darth Vader to R7. Oh, I said gear 8, I meant relic 8. That it doesn't change that much, so that's why I've been changing my farm plan so much, and that's not why I've been doing it. It's actually partly why, because I kind of knew that. And also it doesn't affect me as much as if I was, let's say going for CLS, and then I was like, nope, I'm going for Padme. It's like, dude, like, it's not going to take you that long to get CLS. Like, you can get CLS at like gear 7, 8 with really good mods. Like, I did that. Check out my YouTube for it. Check out that video. You can do that. Like, you can get, that's not going to take that long, right? Just focusing on getting this character 7 stars. They're not that hard to get. Do that, right? But for me, the executor, it's like, okay, I literally can't even relic 8 these characters, and when I farm relic materials, it's super, like, not the materials, but the signal data, it's super slow, because I don't put any crystals refreshed into Cantina, because I just don't value that as highly as the energy to get gear. So it's not really changing the speed at which I get these characters relicked, And so I can change my farm plan. I can take small breaks to use to like get to try out Lando and to build these characters that I want to do. And then that kind of led me to my decision to switch to just Rush Jabba, because I was already wanting to build Chrysanthemum and Lando. I really wanted to build all these units. I wanted to build up a CLS team. I was already doing that. I wanted to get C-3PO. I wanted to eventually get Jedi Luke Skywalker. Have some build up Jawa and Tusken eventually. I was even looking at Lando and a BAM team instead of Cara Dune. I was excited for that. So, just made sense, honestly. It really just made sense. I was already set up in Fleet Arena. My Fleet Arena is just going to get stronger. So, unless the profundity literally just destroys me, which it probably will, and every team in top 10 has the profundity, which it won't for me, then I'm screwed. I guess the lesson because I wrote down in my phone notes for this episode, the lesson is that it's probably not a good idea to like get so fixated like me. That's why in my farm plan on my YouTube that I did, it's probably a better idea for you to actually, I can just go to the slides for it. So yeah, when I did this video, that's why I did this video in a way that's more healthy for your account than what I'm doing, because I'm so laser focused on bounty hunters. So that's why I was like suggesting that you went for like IG-11 in there, not just a full 5 team of bounty hunters, because you can work into BAM. BAM can get you your Razor Crest. Your Razor Crest needed for your Executor later on. And then, get from current 7-star BH or wait till boss, and then I was saying you could use Han Solo and Chewie here. And then, but the big thing was that you have two choices, right? So at this point, with your roster that you're developing, your fleets, you can either go for Executor, which is what I chose, or developing your roster. And I think developing your roster is a better play, because if you do that now, and this is why I might, when the last set of requirements come out, I might make another farm plan that's a Jabba rush, but it's not just building those units. Exactly. It's gonna be like this, where you have some, where you try to mitigate, try to have a healthy account, but you try to mitigate how much like stuff you like need to, you'll just use and then throw it away, basically never use it again. So this way, this decision was basically a way for you to say, like, just finish collecting your bounty hunters. You're gonna build up the Executor bounty hunters eventually anyway. You're gonna be building up their ships. You'll be fine, in Fleet Arena with those ships. You can do that, and then you can build up some more teams for Grand Arena. So you have 3 good teams for defense, 3 good teams for offense. So that's gonna help you in Carbonite. When you climb up to Bronzium, you're gonna be able to just have options to build up more teams. And with the with Jabba coming out, you're probably gonna want to go for like Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, so you're going to be able to build another Rebels team from like the remaining Rebels for that, like Akbar you'll have lying around, Lando, you'll have C-3PO to put in CLS, so you can put R2 somewhere else, you have Leia, you have like Captain Han Solo, so you'll be able to build more teams, right? And this is what I would probably suggest to people that were going for bounty hunters, because like I have been working on the Executor for so long. I have not been able to. Whenever I take breaks and work on other things, it's so much more satisfying unlocking CLS, doing those other things. But when I unlock CLS, I can't even say like I'm gonna get him to Gear 12. I have to be like I have to get him to Gear 9, and then go back to the Executor, because I have to finish the Executor and I'm close. Because like getting them to Gear 9 is not that much of a of resources like taken away from the Executor. It's like probably like a few days. Getting them to Gear 12 is like probably like a few weeks to a month. So that's really slowing me down. And so that's why like you always have this thing in the back of your mind when you're building up other units. You're like, eventually I have to get back to the Executor. So because I know I said that it's so expensive and takes such a long time that it doesn't really change anything going for other units, but it's up to a point. That's why I suggest that's why I'm like starting to like. People always use the term like actively farming versus passively farming, and I'm actually starting to incorporate that more into like my thinking and my philosophy and logic towards this game. It's like you have something that's your active farm that you devote most of your resources to, and then you have something passively that you're farming, right? And so what you want to do is have that thing that's passively farming in the background. You want that to be a very powerful unit, squad, galactic legend, whatever it is that you can get using the units you're actively farming for anyway, right? So an example of that would be like if you're trying to go for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, basically building up your CLS team is going to get you there anyway. So like why not build your CLS team up to like Gear 12, build up maybe like a Rebel fleet and get those units to like Gear 11, right? Because then you have Biggs and Wedge, and I think you need Biggs and his Starfighter for Jedi Luke Skywalker event. So like basically look at what you passively need to like farm and find all the units you need for that and try to make teams that they'll fit into, right? Don't just make it so that you're gonna throw like junk teams. Like find like actual teams you'll be like, oh, like okay, like I can use these, like Biggs is needed, right? So I could use Biggs in like this team, or like if I need Princess Leia, I could throw Leia on an Akbar double Omicron team and see how that works out. What other rebels do I need for that? And they're not needed for Luke Skywalker, but you can just get them, because it'll probably be better for your Grand Arena 5v5, So they're a lot. I already talked about priority of my roster becoming territory wars rather than uh Grand Arena, and they said that's because the Omicrons within the bounty hunters are Huck Cartel tag, especially with Lando getting a territory wars Omicron. That really signals to me that that's where they're trying to take the Huck Cartel and bounty hunters as a whole. And on top of that, I'm from rushing Jabba. Jabba's gonna be good in territory battles. So, like I said before, try my best in Grand Arena, use what I got, but focus on just getting the units I want. And there's actually one. Let me pull this up. There's one comment. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. It'll be faster. That I got on my last podcast, which I was surprised. I was surprised that you guys, yeah, someone was actually wanted to comment. This guy's actually. I'm gonna shout him out. Nitro actually commented also on my farm guide. Very polite. Very. I didn't respond. I just liked. That's kind of what I do. Hello, Wacky player. I'm at 41 minutes. Crazy. Had to stop to write this XD. I haven't read this at all. This is actually the first time I'm reading this. I'll finish what you started. Ben Solo phrase, who was just released. Only his kit. He will be. Well, only his kit was released. He will be a conquest. Well, I'm also a Star Wars Galaxy Heroes Star Wars fan. That's why every day I search for new Star Wars Galaxy Heroes videos here on YouTube. Hey, welcome. Awesome. Dope. See, that's the thing about Galaxy of Heroes content creator. It's like it's actually quite it's quite small. There's not that many content creators actually out there. There's like the biggest one is like Arnold, and then the next biggest is AP Gains, and the difference between those two is literally like Arnold has 10 times the YouTube subscribers AP Gains has, right? And Arnold is like very high production. You can tell that that's his full-time job. He devotes every resource into. And then like every other content creator creates videos that are just of less production quality, because I mean, like, listen, like, what, I don't have the money to set up a studio. I don't have the money to do all these fancy things. Like, I have to work, and I don't have and I don't have the time to do it also, because I have to stream. I don't have to, but if I really want to grow my channel and I really want to keep doing this, and because I'm passionate about it, then I have to stream a lot, like 5 days a week minimum, and I want to stream today. So like I have to devote hours to do that rather than editing a video, right? And I enjoy that. I enjoy streaming and talking to you guys more than just, sitting down for every day to edit a video, because it really, it reminds me like how good the community is, how awesome it is to just get on, do your daily, talk with people, help people out about the roster, talk about the strategy of the game. I don't have an editor I can send it to, so if I'm editing a video, it's me doing it, right? I don't have the most skills that a professional editor has, and that goes the same for all the other Galaxy of Heroes content creators. Is that like it feels like there's literally like one guy who's like at that level, that's like the production quality and the whole thing is like the equivalent of like mainstream like Twitch, YouTube like content creators, and everyone else is it's a small content creator. Even AP Gains at like 20,000 subs said that he makes $1,000 a month from doing this. $12,000 is not enough. Whether he's from Canada or the US, that is not enough to live on. And I think he's like a young like college student, I think, or like just young enough that you can live with your parents like me. There, it's like not a big deal. Then everyone else is like, it seems like, they have 10,000, less than 10,000, 1,000, subs. It seems like, that's probably a good side hustle, and they're just very passionate about it. But you can tell that it's them editing it. They don't, like me, it's like you just don't have that professional editing experience. You can just tell, look at the difference between the thumbnails for Galaxy of Hero YouTubers and like, I don't know. I mean, let me just go to mine. Like League YouTubers, look at the difference between like the thumbnails for for those YouTubers, right? League YouTuber. I mean, this is actually pretty basic. Ludwig, pretty basic, but still, I mean, it's like it has a lot of features that like aren't that Galaxy of Heroes YouTubers don't have. Where it's like Galaxy of Heroes have very like a lot of right angles, a lot of basic like one image plus plus wording. And hey, and I'm not bashing that. I do that too, because it just saves a lot of time. Like it's like it gets the point across. It saves a lot of time because it's just a lot harder to do what Iron Pineapple is doing right here, right? Iron Pineapple probably put so much effort into this thumbnail, and that's because he put so much effort into this video that if he's only releasing one-ish video every 2 weeks or every month with 400K views, and has a lot of people on Patreon that support him, it's like, hey, that's all you need to do. You know, you can put a lot more effort in one video, but if you're a Galaxy of Heroes content creator, you have to put out content because the community is pretty small, and since it's so small on YouTube, people will just watch anything because they're just starved for content, right? So the more you put out, people will watch it, get your take. You know, I'm surprised people even watch me, but like I go on Twitch. It's a game that has like 40,000 followers, and on 10 a.m. on every Monday through Friday, I could be the only one streaming it. You know, so then I'll just like, you know, you could just get 8 to 15 viewers like easily. That's how I got to your video. It's great. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. This is really nice for me to hear because I'm so self-critical on myself anyway. That like one of the good things of being self-critical is when people are maliciously attacking you, when they're bullying you, right? And you know it's not like criticism. You're like, I already thought about that. Like that's not new to me. Like I already know that, and I know like you're saying that, and you're just doing that. You're saying that because like basically it's just I already know that and I'm already working on fixing it. So like it doesn't fucking matter, you know? Like yeah, that's true, but like how am I gonna get better if I don't do it? Like at least I'm out here posting, and at least I'm out here like showing myself to the world, and you're just like what, like bullying me behind a screen? Although no one has done that to me, and I'm really surprised by that. I'm really grateful, you know? I mean, this Galaxy Heroes community is extremely positive. I'm also hyped for Jabba. Me too, bud. It will be my first GL as well. Wow, okay. My account is a collector one. Dude, I literally haven't even read this account, and collector. Dude, the fucking collector versus player, fucking like competitive player philosophy. So true. Just got to 4.9 mil. Dude, congrats. Almost 5 mil. That's crazy. Very proud of it, as you should be. Need to repair my roster. I feel like that's everyone, so don't feel bad about that. I'm working on it. Best wishes on your new project, and may the force be with you as always. You too, Nitro. Thank you so much. And if you want to have if you want to have your thoughts be portrayed in the next podcast episode, leave comments down below. And I think that's really it. There's really not much to talk about this episode. I feel like it was much higher energy. Now, just drank my cup of coffee, got the caffeine in me. Besides that, I stream Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, you know, it goes for a few hours. I don't really have a deterministic time when I stop. And I plan on doing a few new things in my stream that people might like, people might not like. But also, if you want to support me, you know, like, subscribe, comment below. Also, download Raid Shadow Legends. I just got a sponsorship from them. I think you have to download the game, create an account, and play the tutorial. And you know the tutorial's over when you reach the main like area and you don't have to click anymore. So go do that if you're stayed until the end of the video. Probably should put that at the beginning also. All right. Bye everyone. Peace.